Impressive rotation on the 10-minute siege mid, BSJ. You're better than everyone in this server already. Hello, this is BSJ. We're going to do a quick talk about rotations. This is going to be a brief video, but it's something that I think can say a lot in one example.
Banana slam jam.
So as an offlaner, something I think you have to learn, and what a lot of NA players really don't get, I think, is that if your lane matchup's not that great, what I mean by not that great, in this situation, I'm level 7, he's level 8, but most notably, if you watch the dynamic of this lane, Morphling's base attack time and attack animation are way better than mine. He's, what, like 20 armor? Yeah, 20 armor. I'm all physical damage, and we just don't really pressure down here. So what I mean by that is the lane dynamic is in favor of the opponent. Because he outclicks me, he out CS's me. If we're just laning statically, he's going to do more damage to me and get more CS than I do. So that's what I mean by the lane dynamic is in favor of the other person. A lot of players in NA, I'm just being honest with you guys, I'm trying not to flame too much, but a lot of players in NA, when they're presented with a situation like this, they just accept it. They say, okay, like, you know, maybe I'm losing my lane, but let's just deal with it, basically. And I think that's a really bad mentality. When I realized watching a lot of other offlaners and then playing offlane myself, when I'm in a lane like this, I just think to myself what else I can do on the map. And there's a lot of ways to do things on the map. A lot of people don't think about it this way. But like, here's the mindset that goes through for me. I'm like, okay, lane's not all that great. I'm not 2K, so jungling is not an option. If I were to jungle, this is Arteezy on Morphling, by the way. If I were to jungle, Morphling's going to push in my lane, and he's going to push my tower. So this is an example where we're talking about map pressure a lot in this example. This moment in the game I'm showing you guys. This is a lot about map pressure, and it's an important concept for a lot of you to understand. Map pressure means that whatever you're doing is forcing the opponent to deal with it, or they're going to lose objectives, or they're going to die, that kind of stuff. So they either have to rotate heroes to protect a hero, or they have to rotate heroes to protect an objective. If I were to jungle, Morphling is just going to push in the lane, and then he's going to hit my tower. And that means either I have to go bottom and defend, which I've already told you this lane dynamic's not good. I honestly couldn't defend very effectively, which would mean we would need 1 or 2 more heroes to do so, which then I am creating negative map pressure. What I mean by negative map pressure is a move I make is causing my team to have to respond more so to what the opponent is doing. So I immediately think to myself, okay, so map pressure-wise, I can't just stay bottom. That's super awkward. As of right now in the game, we don't really have a way to kill Morphling. Can we, like, bully him out of an area? Sure. So, like, my Void Spear comes bottom for the bounty rune, and he says, hey, like, I'm like, we can't really kill this guy, and then he says, yeah, we're just going to take the rune. And I said, okay, that's fine. So we end up taking the rune. So I wanted to talk about this thought process to you guys. I'm like, okay, can't really kill this guy, but we bully him away. Great. Notice how I just want to push this lane as quickly as possible because I just want to get the fuck out of here. And I also know that the lane being pushed into my tower is going to create negative map pressure on my team. Or map pressure in favor of the other team, however you want to look at it. So for me, before I leave, I want to kill as many creeps as possible. If you're an offlaner, if you're a carry, no matter what role you are, if you are going to leave a lane, think to yourself how many creeps you can kill. As many as you can. Because at the end of the day, those creeps are the reason why you're there. They give you farm, they give you XP, but also they are the map pressure that I've talked about. So in this example, for all the reasons I've said, I clear the wave as quickly as possible, and then I look at their cores, and I say, Mars, not really the best hero to gank as Legion. His passive's really good against me, and he's also, I would have to, like, TP to my own safe lane. So I'm looking at my mana, I'm thinking about the hero I'm going to duel, and I'm like, eh. And then I look at Ember, and it's like, okay, not really the best hero for Legion Commander to kill. What do you know? I'm like, okay, I can't really kill anybody. So just as I showed with this Morphling, I can make moves in my lane and on the map that force the opponent to react even if I'm not killing anybody. This is a problem that is really hard to acknowledge for really, like, honestly, 99% of the Dota community. I haven't thought about it at this level or this way pretty much until I went to EU, which was, you know, last month. So basically, I don't have to kill anybody. I can just go somewhere on the map that forces the opponent to bring more heroes. That's how I think about it. I'm just going to force someone to bring more heroes. So then in the game, there's a lot of tools you can use. to force this to happen. And a perfect example is catapults. Catapults just naturally turn any heroes that are mediocre tower pushers into tower pushers because the catapult just does so much damage to towers. So I'm at 1020. I've talked about all the things going on in my head. There's nothing good for me in this lane. I don't mind being here, but I don't want to be here. That's kind of like the conclusion I've come to, right? So I'm like, oh, I see this engagement going on top. I see 3 of my heroes. I'm walking towards mid. I see more heroes. I'm like, oh, well, hey, Void Spirit, let's just hit this building. I'm like, I just want to pressure with the catapult. It's crazy how there's an engagement going on top. Morphling's a hero that does not want to respond. That is not what Morphling wants to be doing. And we just walk mid, right? And all we're doing is forcing people to come here because my hero does not represent kill threat. It doesn't do anything special. I don't want to be against Morphling. And guess what? I even forced Morphling to leave bottom. And he ends up having to chase me all the way back. And we end up getting a free tower on against an entirely full health tower with 2 heroes that don't innately push towers, Legion Commander as well as Void Spirit. So this is a perfect rotation where Arteezy, as a good player, he knows, he's like, this Legion Commander, Void Spirit are not supposed to be taking my mid-tier 1. And this happens at the absolute highest level, and it's not Arteezy's fault. I'm not blaming Arteezy or flaming him. He's realizing that his team was trying to make a move top without thinking about their mid-catapult. This Ember also wasn't thinking about it at all either. He could have done a lot more, in my opinion, to prevent this creep wave from getting to his tower in the first place. He could have at least stalled. But this guy did what I said I shouldn't do at 9 minutes when he's dealing with a catapult, right? Earlier I said if I go jungle, then there's going to be negative map pressure. This Ember pushes the mid lane, playing hyper efficiently, and then he just walks over and jungles. And he has Glove of Haste instead of Boots. I think he lost a Courier. Yeah, that's what happened. So notice how Ember, instead of playing the mid lane, is like walking over to jungle, and he's like, oh, okay, I can't really jungle. I guess I have to walk back towards mid. And by the time he walks back, it's already too late. So this is like a perfect example of map pressure that suddenly results in the opponent being like, wait, what? And then we lost a tower. So, if you think this is just a coincidence, just for the memes, impressive rotation on the 10-minute siege mid, BSJ. You're better than everyone in this server already. Now, this may look like a load of salt to you guys. It really might. But I'm going to tell you the reason why I never learned this, like, throughout the entire course of my time in NA, is because nobody fucking does it. Literally nobody does it. And in EU, the second, like, maybe by, like, the first week or two, I was noticing the opponent was dragging me around the map. Like, literally, whatever they were doing was dragging me from one place to the other. And I'm like, I don't want to be here. Why do I have to keep dealing with what the opponent is doing? And I realized that there's a lot of micro movements you can make on the map that just suddenly force the opponent to have to deal with whatever you're doing. And that's an amazing skill to start developing for anyone. It can be catapults. It can be kill threat. It can be you sitting behind a guy that's not safe enough to push the tower otherwise. Like, say I'm just a Legion and I want to sit behind my Void Spirit hitting the tower and I have my W to save him. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can enable map pressure, your teammates, rotating away from a lane that's not ideal for you. This may be, in my opinion, since I've just learned it, a super high level concept. But it's actually not that hard to apply, right? It's really not, because at my bracket, I just have to outmaneuver 8K players. You have to outmaneuver whoever you're playing against, 2Ks, 1Ks, 3Ks. People in NA at like the highest level don't think like this. And this is the type of mentality I'm trying to instill on this region. Think about how the way you play the game affects the opponent and how the way your opponent has to react to whatever you're doing. And also, that comes with the self-awareness of recognizing whether or not a situation is good for you. I'm talking about whether or not heroes want to rotate defensively, aggressively. Do they want to play around mid, top? Every hero wants to play the map differently. Every hero either counter-ganks or doesn't participate in fights at all. These are different characteristics that heroes will overlap and share in some capacities. The point is, I just had a quick realization. I'm like, oh, they're fighting top? Morphling doesn't want to rotate from bottom? Let's just go hit mid. And boom, a free tower. And mid tower being as important as it is, that's a pretty big deal in a game like this. So, hope you guys learned something from that.